Oh my god, everybody, that was amazing. This is going to be my Arrow 100th episode video. It's part 3 of the crossover, and the Flash ring giveaway is still going on. What a crazy 100th episode. I thought they did a good job of including everyone, even people that couldn't make it because of scheduling problems. So just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet, and there is a new round of the Flash ring giveaway going on. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. Be sure to turn alerts on. I will be announcing a winner at the end of this, but let's talk about all this Matrix craziness. So top 10 WTF comic book Easter eggs. Most of the Easter eggs they included were for things that they've done on Arrow. They were internal Easter eggs. So they open the episode number 10 with Oliver running through a bunch of trees. This is like a long-held Arrow tradition with Oliver opening each season, like the episode 1, with him running through trees into some other situation. But surprise, he's in the backyard of the Queen Mansion, which got blown up between seasons a couple years ago. So they open the episode completely in Dreamland, which is in stark contrast to the way they ended the last episode with them all getting beamed up after that crazy epic battle. So Stephen Amell actually said, like, very specifically, like, he is an actor, doesn't get to give notes a lot, but they do ask him for input when they give him scripts. They're like, hey, you know, what do you think of this episode that we're getting ready to shoot? And every once in a while, he'll get to, like, throw something in. He said that, like, his big thing with the 100th episode was that because they were going to be doing such crazy stuff, is that he wanted to open the episode with music in, like, a different way, like, to do it completely differently to let you know that this wasn't a normal episode. So I'll talk about this as I work through Easter eggs, but like they had music cues, like a League of Assassins music cue for Sarah when she said something about not being an assassin. So they were like little bits that they added just to let you know that this is completely different. But because of all the hype going into it, all the info they've been dropping, I think most of us understood that this was going to be like a special Matrix Dreamland situation. But number 9, speaking of which, we meet Laurel Lance. She is engaged to Oliver, like in the comics, and a lot of people were probably happy about that. But as he starts saying hello to everyone, he sees his father, his mother, then Thea gives him the hosen that he gave to her after coming back from the island in the pilot episode. So there were like a lot of things happening in this episode that went all the way back to the pilot, especially Oliver's father because he died in the pilot. But number 8, back in the real world, Cisco comes in and has to vibe Oliver's bow to find out that they're all on that ship. And they reverse engineer the Dominator technology with a whole bunch of movie references. Oh, this is my C-3PO chip. Oh, you make movie references? That's so lame. Like Cisco is Mr. Movie Reference. So the storyline that was happening outside of the episode was relatively brief. Like most of the episode was dedicated to this Arrow storyline because it's the 100th episode. So you don't want to like hijack it with a bunch of other stuff. But number 8, like the big Doctor Who reference, the Cybermen reference, a woman basically grafting technology onto herself. They have to get a piece from it in order to help the people that are trapped on the spaceship. So Barry and Kara team up with the rest of Team Arrow with a whole bunch of jokes about Barry carrying people. Like pretty much every funny moment that they've had where Flash crosses over with Arrow characters like Diggle freaking out and throwing up every time Barry carries him, they tried to touch on that. But they also had this arc with Wild Dog kind of coming around on metahumans. Like, I don't trust you, you make things worse. But by the end of the episode, they were completely cool. So, you know, number 7, Barry and Kara versus the Cyberwoman. Just total tag team, it was awesome. Just like the brief amount of those characters that you needed just to remember that there's like larger stuff going on besides the Arrow Matrix 100th episode stuff. So number 6, we meet Sarah in the Dreamland. She touches Laurel's canary necklace. Oh, what a coincidence. She starts to remember things. Oliver starts to have flashes. He catches the vase. He notices the smoke technology's building. They have that very Batman moment where they almost get mugged in the alley, but they're saved by Mystery Green Arrow. Oh, I wonder who that was. But Oliver's father gives him this big speech about doing the responsible thing. Hey, take over as Queen Consolidated CEO. Let's keep it in the family. I'm getting ready to run for mayor. So they're touching on storylines from back in season 1. His father starts talking about the work that he's doing isn't finished yet, which was one of the final lines that he told to Oliver before he died. Oliver's just been sworn in as mayor, so basically like all the conversations they're having and all the Easter eggs are all blends of everything that's ever happened on Arrow. They're all like mixing and matching things. But the more Oliver starts talking to people, the more he touches things, sees really like significant things from his past, he starts to freak out, have hallucinations of what really happened. sees visions of Laurel, his father, his mother dying. And then number 5, when he goes to see Quentin, who has a really funny speech, does not seem like a broken down alcoholic, says Oliver is like a really great person despite him not being super hot on him before. So he goes to where the current Arrow cave is, sees it as it is currently in present day, with the addition of a giant fern in frame right next to Felicity, and in swings the Green Arrow. Intruder alert, it's Diggle. The last time I think we saw Diggle in the Green Arrow costume was during season 3 before Oliver got like his big suit upgrade. So Diggle's in full crazy mode. He hasn't like woken up to the fact that he's in a Matrix. He's speaking to Oliver in a version of Stephen Amell's Arrow voice, which it itself is kind of a version of Batman voice. So Diggle Batman voice was kind of funny. But the 5 people that are in the Matrix, just remember, is Oliver, Diggle, Sarah, Thea, and Ray Palmer. So eventually they all start to come together. Like once they start touching each other, they start to remember, they figure it out. Number 4, they're going to try and keep us trapped in here. Like Diggle pulls out the picture of the Dominator. And surprise, surprise, Deathstroke appears, just whips his sword out. It was one of the greatest introductions ever. So I don't think that Manu Bennett was underneath that mask. Otherwise, he would have torn it off. They would have had him on screen. But just like Tommy, I think that Manu Bennett was unavailable because he himself is a series regular on a couple of other shows. So there's just like no way they could make it work. So they found a way to make Deathstroke work. But Sarah comes in and saves them because like Oliver hasn't quite fully remembered that he's a really badass fighter. Like it takes him most of the episode to figure everything out. Like, okay, we have to get out of here. But number 3, the wedding reception. So this is funny. We had the Thea Merlin moment where they totally name-dropped Tommy, who is a mysterious doctor in Chicago, could not make it. The funny thing about this, like if you don't know, Colin Donnell, the actor who played Tommy, is a series regular on Chicago Med. He plays a doctor on that show. So this was the writers saying that Tommy couldn't come to Oliver and Laurel's wedding reception because he's a doctor on another show. Like, just laughing about that. But then Laurel makes a joke about Sarah hooking up with Oliver. Oh, you know I'm a lesbian, but you know that Sarah in season 1 was on the Queen's Gambit hooking up with Oliver. So too, Oliver says this really tearful goodbye to his mother and father, and then the team tries to leave and has to fight off the combined forces of Deathstroke, Malcolm Merlyn as the Dark Archer, Damien Dark, and one of the Mirakuru soldiers. So Oliver puts another arrow through Deathstroke's eye, just a little Easter egg from season 1 and from season 2 when he did it to Slade Wilson. And I was really happy that they gave Oliver that final goodbye moment where he's seeing the visions of all the people that are most important to him, just kind of reassuring him that the decisions he's made were the right ones, he's a good person, just give him like the bump that he needs. And they find a way to include footage of Tommy and Roy, who could not make it for the episode. I was kind of bummed that they weren't around, but the producers explained there was just like no way they could make it work with those actors' schedules. So bit of a bummer. Maybe sometime in the back half Colton can come back. I definitely think that Tommy and Roy will come back for an episode in the future. It just depends on when they're available and whatever story it is they want to bring them back for. But all that talk does throw a lot of water on the idea that Tommy might be Prometheus. So if Colin Donnell was so busy that he could not make it for the Arrow 100th episode, then I think it'd be really hard for him to be a big villain in the back half of the season as Prometheus. But number 1, they escape, and the team learns that the Dominator's language is based on Hebrew, or at least it shares a lot in common with Hebrew. Just because the show is trying to tease that there is like a larger galactic community and they share a lot in common. Like humans are not this singular thing. They're part of this giant organism that is the universe with many races that we will hopefully eventually meet. Now that kind of gets into Green Lantern, really big space-based stuff. But this idea that they share a lot in common with the aliens will come back later. This is them just laying seeds. They're kind of doing more of this stuff on Supergirl. But Mr. Terrific has that line about not wanting to turn it into a religious thing. There is a god in the DC universe that takes a couple of different forms. He's known as the Presence. He gets used a lot in Lucifer, Neil Gaiman's stories. He doesn't appear a whole lot in the main DC comics, just because it's really hard to tell a story when a character is completely invincible. Like Superman seems invincible, but he does have weaknesses. So it just makes it almost impossible to write a story with conflict about a character that can't be beaten. So that's why you don't see God a whole lot in the DC universe. But he's also known as the Source, the place where the New Gods get their powers from. So when they talk about divine plan, they're just kind of hinting at New Gods, stuff like that, like bigger, larger Green Lantern galactic stuff happening. But I will say this is my favorite Arrow episode in as long as I can remember. I felt like they did a really good job of hitting beats with each of the characters. They gave Thea that really nice moment with Moira. Oliver got really nice moments with his parents. They all got really nice moments with Laurel. So I like the way they wrote the characters, the interactions, the sentiment. So now my head is spinning a little bit as to how they're going to bring Laurel back in the back half of the season, because that's still like a completely separate thing. We'll have to talk about that after the mid-season finale, because I don't think we're going to learn about that till Talia al Ghul and Laurel come back in episode 10. Supposedly there'll be Laurel stuff in episode 10, but there is definitely Talia stuff happening, but I think that's mostly for the flashbacks. So just a heads up, the next part of the crossover is Legends of Tomorrow, like they get saved by the Wave Rider, so obviously they'll pick up with that in tomorrow's episode. So hopefully, if I can get it out in time, I'll do an Arrow finale trailer video, like an Arrow episode 9 trailer video for the Prometheus stuff. Then I'll do Rick and Morty, which I meant to do today, and then I'll do my Legends video. But I'll say congratulations to the current giveaway winner. Nightwolf, you win the first Flash ring, so I'll announce the next winner when I post my Legends video tomorrow. So I'll just remind people about the giveaway when I post the DC videos, so no worries. If you guys are behind on the crossover, I will add links for the other crossover videos that I've done at the end of this. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for next week's Flash trailer. It's totally crazy. And you can click here for part 2 of the crossover. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.